Hello everyone. Alright, I kind of want to get into this, and there's a lot of crap that's sort of been going on in the lesser, I use quotations, lesser YouTube circles, about this sort of statism versus libertarianism kind of thing, and really, I'm only really responding to Godless Hayes' video because I respect Godless Hayes. Not only that, but you know, he was clearly looking for some sort of, I don't want to say guidance, I don't want to say answers, but he was clearly someone who wanted to listen to something. And I feel maybe I can provide. Who the fuck knows? I'm a content provider. I can do this shit. I got what it takes. I'm a man. Okay. First things first. At one point, Godless Hayes mentioned in his video about taxation, and sort of there's the dichotomy, is taxation theft or not? And he mentioned police seatbelt checks. The idea of being pulled over and talked to or looked at by police officers, and they're sort of like, okay, well, if you don't get a seatbelt, we fine you, and all that stuff. And he viewed that, spending money on that was kind of like, that is theft. Because those officers could be off doing something better, you know? Solving murders or whatever, you know, being all CSI and shit. I might agree with that. I would definitely agree that seatbelt checks are probably a big waste of fucking time. Even if I believe seatbelts probably do save lives, and I've been driver's ed recently, so, you know, I've been convinced that they do, but maybe we shouldn't be spending that much money on it. Maybe police officers should be doing something better. But the idea of that being theft, taxation is either theft or it's not. And certain kinds of taxation could also be classified as theft or not, depending on how they are. It's not whether or not we agreed with the usage that determines if it's theft. It's not theft if we don't like how it's being spent. Really, the main argument behind that is we can't just say we like them spending in some cases and saying, oh, you know, that's not theft. I wanted it to spend it there. And then when they spend it in other situations, oh, now it's theft. It was theft from them taking it from you, if that is theft. It's not theft because of the way they spent it. And, not to be a douche or anything, although this will sound douchey, Canadians have more reason than anyone at this moment, at this juncture, to fucking be pissed off at frivolous government spending. Because we're hosting the G8, G20 summits, and for whatever reason, we decided to build a massive fake lake inside some hotel so we can show all of the diplomats from around the world the glory of the Canadian wilderness without them actually going out into the glory of the Canadian wilderness. We're just going to build some fake-ass, really, really, really expensive lake. So we spent a whole bunch of our fucking tax dollars that could have been spent on something like the military or healthcare or doing something with that. No, we spent that on a fake lake that will only last for a week or two. So yeah, I don't exactly feel too good about how my government spends my money either. You're not alone. And when I say you're not alone, I don't mean the only people in the world that are angry conspiracy theorists. They come to the internet en masse, because no one's going to listen to them. So they have to come to the internet. So we get this weird obscure number of, oh, there's certainly a lot of conspiracy theorists in the world. No. We pretty much get any conspiracy theorist in the world, because they pretty much go to the internet because no one else is willing to spend the time or be around them, because they're crazy. Most of the democratic population, like in Canada or the US, is like Godless Hayes, and to some degree me, because I feel the exact same way. I don't really like any of the choices I've been given. So, even though we vote, we still don't have any confidence in our government. And I liked the way Godless Hayes said that. It's true. It's not confidence. It's non-confidence. We have no confidence in the government. So, in Canada, we can have things in the Parliament like a vote of non-confidence, which means if that fails in Parliament, we have to go to an election. Well, the funny thing about that is that's determined by the politicians that are in the House of Commons. That's not really determined by us. If we don't really have any confidence in the government, that doesn't really mean shit. It's only until our elected politicians decide it means shit. So that's kind of an issue. What else is kind of an issue is the fact that we actually have no legitimacy in our government, neither does the United States, and I'm thinking sometimes even England feels the exact same damn way. So this issue isn't about taxation or theft. This issue is about legitimacy in government, and that no matter what kind of style of government you have, if you are not a legitimate governor, fuck you. You have no place being there. And I don't mean legitimate like, oh, we actually voted for you. I mean, we have confidence. We might not like every decision you make, but we're allowing you to be there because we trust the government to some degree to do the job that they're supposed to do. And there are all sorts of things we can actually agree on of what the government is supposed to do. And not everyone is like a libertarian or an anarchist that decides the government should have no role. A lot of people decide that it should have one, and there are a lot of damn good arguments for it. But I'm not going to get into that. Because, look, that's not the fucking point. The point is legitimacy. So what do people need to do? We need to keep doing what we're doing right now. We need to recognize that the issue is we want a government who's going to be democratic. Because a democratic government doesn't mean you get to write your fucking name on a slip of paper and slide it into the ballot box. Because as Godless Hayes pointed out, in his South Park example of the giant douche versus the turd sandwich, it doesn't even really matter who you vote for. You know, Futurama had a clip, and it was satirizing the 2000 election, George Bush and Al Gore, and it was candidate Jim Johnson and John Jameson or something like that. Basically, they were clones, and the idea is the same. It doesn't matter who you vote for these days, they're the same goddamn person. So, writing your fucking name on a slip of paper doesn't mean you're in a democracy. What a democracy is when you are willing to speak and your government is willing to listen. And when the government speaks, the population is willing to listen. It is about communication. It is about my political action meaning something, and not just being lost, not just being forgotten, because it doesn't matter what I think, you know? That's not the point. And as much as I say that, it also means free speech also has to be available too. Because the political action of people that I disagree with still matters. And it takes a lot of courage to recognize that. And it takes a lot of leadership for a country to recognize that. And that's why I can't agree with Godless Hayes and when his degradation of politicians or whatever. Fuck, they all are scumbags, and they pretend to be leaders, and they're retards, okay? When someone calls himself a leader, be skeptical. Yeah, I mean, he has a point. But we need those fucking leaders. We need people with leadership. Not someone who's willing to call himself a leader and take the mantle of leadership. Someone who's just willing to be that leader. Someone who's like that tribe leader or the alpha male or whatever, you know? That person who's just going to be like, fuck this, I'm doing it this way. So we need leaders. We need people who are willing to fucking start some micro-revolution. We need to get new constitutions, or revise the old ones, or at least fucking start some dialogue of what government is supposed to do. Because we've lost touch. We've completely lost touch with what we're supposed to be doing. Society has been run off the rails by all sorts of stupid bullshit. We're not wondering where we're supposed to be going, we're just reacting to stupid things that happen. And sooner or later, when you start reacting to everything, someone's gonna be dumbass and start some fucking wars.